over 300 complaints about Tesla to the CFPB. 66 of them were submitted in the last year. So what did Elon and Trump do? Not only did they fire the director and put their own guy in, under the guise of efficiency, they closed the CFPB's headquarters and told the entire staff they couldn't perform any work tasks. And, maybe I'm wrong here, but it seems like those work tasks are an essential part of protecting consumers. Or how about USAID, the United States Agency for International Development, not to be confused with USAID, which is the agency angry couples use when their partner denies they said something. In 2024, the USAID Inspector General initiated a probe into Musk's Starlink satellite terminals provided to the government of Ukraine. But you don't need an expensive satellite link to figure out what happened next. Elon shuttered the agency, and when the Inspector General published a report criticizing the administration for what they'd done, they fired him. In other words, Elon went scorched earth against every single agency and department that had oversight into him and his companies, and yet conspicuously absent in his quest to eliminate waste, fraud, and abuse, the Pentagon. 7 failed audits in a row, and no heads on pikes, no big shows of gutting sections of the agency, and in fact, an increase in funding to $1 trillion. If you can explain to me how USAID, which represents 0.5% of the budget, was a day one priority for Elon, but the Department of Defense, which hasn't passed an audit since Tamagotchis were still around, gets $1 trillion with no questions asked, I'm all ears. The reality is that Elon did not come to Washington to fix anything, but rather to eliminate the hurdles that stood in his way to becoming even richer. And Trump knew it when he brought Elon in, which is why the answer today to this question was not revealing at all.
President Elon Musk, in a television interview, criticized the one big, beautiful bill, saying he was disappointed it didn't cut enough, essentially, that it undercut the Doge efforts. What's your reaction to that?
Well, the reaction's a lot of things. Number one, we have to get a lot of votes. We can't be cutting. We need to get a lot of support, and we have a lot of support. We had to get it through the House. The House was, we have no Democrats. If it's up to the Democrats, they'll take the 65% increase.
Yeah, okay, I'll spare you the suspense. Trump didn't have a single bad thing to say about Elon. It's like the opposite of how he feels about Eric. I get that the media wants to frame this as some big falling out between Donald Trump and Elon Musk, but there's no such thing. Both of these guys are well aware of what they're there to do, and that is to enrich themselves, and every American knows it. I'm sorry, but people are not setting Teslas ablaze around the country to celebrate Elon's efficiency. It's because they're furious at the con job on full display. Remember again when Elon said this about fixing the deficit.
What I really want to say is, it's not optional for us to reduce the federal expenses. It's essential.
You know what would essentially fix this deficit problem? Taxing billionaires. Like Elon. The guy is parading himself around like some white knight because Doge recommended all of $150 billion in cuts, as if that would do anything to get our deficit under control. The budget that Republicans are passing right now would increase the deficit by $3.8 trillion. And yet we're sitting here pretending that Elon did something? If any of these assholes were serious about the debt, which again Elon claims is essential, they would adequately tax the wealthy. But he'll never recommend that because it was never about the deficit, it was always about helping himself. Remember, Elon had the opportunity and the political capital to do whatever he wanted when Trump came into office. And he did. Why do you think he was jumping for joy during the campaign? It wasn't because he was about to get a free chainsaw, it's because he knew that if his investment into Trump of $300 million paid off, his problems would go away, not everyone else's. Elon trotted his kid out because he desperately wanted everyone to buy his kayfabe of, don't save this country for me, save it for the children. But his children will be just fine. And so will the kids of every other billionaire. Because in Trump's bill, which again will add $3.8 trillion to the deficit, the wealthiest people in this country will get trillions in tax cuts, while the poorest Americans actually see their incomes fall. Elon can throw on as many Occupy Mars t-shirts as he wants to pretend that he's some quirky nerd trying to do the right thing for America, but the only reason he should be trying to create a home on another planet is because everyone on this one knows that he's full of shit. Americans do not want to go to Mars nearly as badly as they want to go to the hospital without going broke. When he came into the White House, Elon vowed he'd be the beacon of good governance and that Doge would cut $2 trillion from government spending in 1 year. Then he knocked that down to $1 trillion, then he made it $150 billion. I think Elon's boring company has a side hustle of moving the goalposts. But that $150 billion that was so essential to cut, they could find that in 5 minutes by taxing billionaires. But instead, Elon and Trump are cutting crucial money for food assistance and Medicaid, not to mention cutting funding from the IRS just to make it easier for the richest people in America to cheat on their taxes. If Elon and the dudes at Doge really wanted to implement lasting change, they'd try to codify their changes by going through that pesky other branch of government, Congress. But Elon doesn't care. His disappointment in Trump's bill is just another piece of performance art. If Republican politicians truly cared about any modicum of fiscal responsibility, they would know that keeping guys like Musk away from our government isn't optional, it's essential. Before you go, if you enjoyed this content and you want to see more and support independent media, please subscribe to this channel. The subscribe button will be right here on the screen. But second, the reality is that we are now in a political environment where this administration can lean on any of the social media platforms to suppress certain voices if they don't like critical coverage. That means my longevity here is in the hands of a few tech billionaires who are already making it clear that they are willing to cater to this administration. To that end, signing up for my newsletter is a way for me to reach you directly if that ever becomes necessary. I'll put the link right here on the screen as well, so please sign up. It's free, but there's also an option to do a paid subscription if you'd like to support me and my team. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching.